Hi guys and welcome back to my channel. I am Zamfira from Zamfira Games and this is the second part of the African penguin habitat. This is a episode of speed builds in my project, in my zoo. This is the Wet Sox Zoo. It's a marshland tropical inspired zoo. And as the logo said, the Wet Sox Zoo, where everything has soggy feet. So I incorporate almost all animals that are like aquatic, can swim, and that generally live in more like moister biomes, I guess. Yeah. So here I started building the building in the background, and as I was looking for inspiration pictures on like Google and Pinterest, I saw a lot of pictures where the penguins could actually access like the background, and that there would be like little entryways for their caves or stalls. I don't know. I didn't really know what they looked like from the inside, or basically what the whole building would look like on the inside. So I just tried to make something up from my mind and use my creativity, and I came up with this little entryways. You're gonna see me build the whole background in the first part. I included it into the outside area because that's what you will see from the outside. And yeah, and here I just built these little boxes with raised concrete in the front so that the penguins wouldn't be able to get over there. And then I built these fences on top so that the employees could access them from behind for like cleaning purposes and stuff like that. Yeah, I made one box complete and then just replicated the fencing all around for all the boxes. And here I used like a little hook to resemble like the, I don't know how you call it, the doorknob? Probably. I am not a native English speaker, as you might have noticed from my accent, so please bear with me if my English is not perfect or if I don't really use correct terms. But yeah, you can always tell me in the comments if I pronounce something wrong so that I can still learn. I'm still pretty fresh to YouTube and this whole voiceover stuff. So yeah, I'm really thankful for all the nice advices you maybe have for me. So here I just put down some backstage props for the employees that they would need to like clean the boxes and maybe even the outside area, and some water access so that they could like spray down something to clean, because I always feel like that bird enclosures and penguin enclosures are pretty dirty a lot of the times because they just poop a lot. So yeah, and like some stuff with some boxes, and yeah, maybe just some props that they would use in the background. Some also here I just used some like dirt. I first used the moss and tried to recreate dirt, and then later I saw that there's like actually this, yeah, well, almost sticker that you can change the color, and just wanted to make the backstage area just a little dirty. I just used concrete for all the walls and the flooring to make it like a easy cleaning, and you can just spray them down and just clean everything. But obviously it's not completely sterile, so there will be a little dirt in the edges, and that's fine. And then I tried to make a fun little detail and try to build a little nest with these tiny birch branches. and just made a little circle to recreate like a nest. You probably won't see it from the outside, but I think for someone maybe going in the backstage area, or if you see these, I feel like just tiny little details like this just put everything together and give off really nice vibe, and I think it's just fun to see tiny details like this. I think African penguins actually use pebbles and rocks mostly for building nests, as far as I know, but I don't know what came up in my mind. I just used branches here and just put one of these little eggs in there. So yeah, maybe we're gonna have some little baby penguins in the future. Here I came up with the idea to put some beams under the roof for like structural purposes, I guess. I don't know. Later you will see why I really needed these beams. Normally I don't really plan out my habitats or my builds in general. I just had like a rough sketch on the layout of the habitat and where I wanted to, or I wanted the viewing galleries to look like, and where I wanted the backstage to go. So I just normally just go with the flow and just start building. And here you see I used these beams to put lamps into the penguin boxes. They should like resemble heating lamps for when it gets a little chilly, and to keep the boxes nice and warm, maybe even at night, because it's African penguins, so I guess they just prefer the weather to be pretty warm, pretty hot. And then I just built a little cage around the lamp because I couldn't find a lamp that I was really happy with. So I just used the smallest fencing pieces to make like a little cage around so no one would like touch the warm lamp. I mean, the penguins are not really known for jumping and climbing, but it's just a little detail, so I just still built a cage, and then I decided to also include cables. This is actually the first time I did something that detailed, especially like in the background, in like a backstage area. And then I just copied everything and put lamps in all of the boxes, and actually put one also where the hay is, so I had to delete it. Yeah, and just continue to lay down the cables that the employees could like turn the heating lamps on and off if it's necessary or not, or maybe turn them off in the night, I don't know. Here I'm starting to build the front stage, the viewing gallery. I started with the underwater viewing, and I wanted to give it like a cozy vibe, not like a cave, but just something that would feel a little snug, where you can just chill out and watch the penguins play in the water and just swim around, because they are pretty active in the water, and I think it is just really nice for guests to just watch them play around and swim. seating space so the guests can just sit down and chill for a while watching the penguins swim around. And then I tried to figure something out for the background because I felt like it was still pretty empty and it just took me some time to figure out what I want to do with the space. As I said, I normally don't really plan a lot, so yeah, I just figure out as I go through different items and just try to find something that could be fitting. So I added these educational signs. Of course, people just want to read something about the animals they are looking at. And then I wanted to make like a statue, added some faux rocks and placed the penguin statues down. They are not African penguins, I think, but I mean, it should be fine, you know. And since there was this gap, I wanted to cover this up with some concrete to give it like a realistic look, to give it some structure, that the earth wouldn't just, I don't know, lose its shape. And then I wanted to just do some planting there. Added some of this mulch, I think it's called, and made this plant bed. Yeah, to just give it a realistic look. Maybe like even hide it a little bit so you can't really see the habitat from all angles, because it also gives it a realistic look if you can't really see the habitat from like all around. Because when I thought about real zoos, I know that you're sometimes just walking between foliage and can't really see animals, and that you don't have like a 360 around the habitat where you can take a peek inside. Normally it's just one front or like 2 or 3 different angles where you can take a look inside. So that's what I try to do with most of my habitats in the last time, because it makes it a little more interesting and more realistic, and you have something to put in the gaps in between, and just come up with some foliage or some other stuff. And then I just planted a variety of some aquatic and tropical plants that I use in the penguin habitat, but also plants that I'm gonna use throughout the whole zoo. As I said, I want to give it like a marshland tropical vibe, so I already have like a more or less set up a palette of plants that I will use throughout the zoo, so it makes it a little easier for me to decide what to use. So I just try to stick to a somewhat small variety of plants to make it look everything put together and not too wild or too funky, you know. Then I used some of the smaller beams and wanted to make like a, not like a real fence, but something that would like just go in front of the plant bed so that people don't access, or just some wild kids would go in and like destroy something, I don't know. And I just made them quite irregular, I think, to give it a organic and natural look. And then I just tried to fill in all of the gaps with some rocks or plants, and you know, to just make it everything look all put together. And then I needed to figure something out for this part of the padding. And I first again wanted to use concrete to give it some structure, make it realistic, because obviously it needs to hold back the earth in the back. And then I used these smaller pieces of concrete and try to create like a curve, because the pathing is also a little curved here. Yeah, and then just put the terrain close to it. Later I'm gonna also add some more foliage on top of there, but I didn't include it into this video because it would have been simply too long, and it's not directly for this habitat. And I just like to fill in the gaps between different habitats when I also already have like a certain area finished, because I often redo pathing and stuff like that, and I just want to decorate everything in between when I have everything set from like the buildings and the pathing, and then I go ahead and do some plants, maybe some shops, toilets, I don't know. That's I have to make something up when I finished maybe one more habitat, I think. And then I'm going back to the entry, redo something there, do some more details, and then fill in the gaps you can see in the background right now. And then here I tried to just use some foliage. I wasn't too sure what I wanted to use, so I had to go back and forth and just decided on some smaller plants, because the area is pretty narrow, so I didn't really want to use bigger plants or this big grass. I just didn't like the look of it. I just put one bigger tree in the corner there, because there the gap was a little bigger, and just filled everything in with some small bushes, and also added this fencing. Then I also recolored the concrete because it really just sticked out a lot, and I wanted to redo and make everything look just put together. And then I started with the viewing gallery, where you can look over the fencing of the habitat and look onto the penguins and just see them swimming or walking around. And first I wanted to use this preset fence, but I didn't like it later, especially because it didn't have like an end piece, or I couldn't find a beam that was fitting for like an end piece here. You can see I'm scrolling through everything. Yeah, and then I decided to delete it. And then I did some custom fencing. I just used the same beams I used for the underwater viewing, where you can see like in the bottom left corner a little bit. And I also used these in the backstage area for the beams under the roof, if you might have seen. So there I just built like one segment of the fence and just copy it, and yeah, just build like a whole fence out of it. That's basically how I always do fencing if I do some custom things. And as always, I need to redo the pathing, because not everything will fit perfectly and you need to adjust quite a lot. And then here I again realized that the pathing was not straight, and I had to adjust everything little by little, piece by piece. And here I decided it was just too much work, or like a little too hard to do, so I redid the pathing, made it straight, so at least it's not in a curve, and I only had to adjust the fence basically going down the ramp. And I don't know why it is. Here you can see me struggling a little bit with the precise movement, I think. I'm not quite sure what it is called correctly. Because sometimes it's just a little funky. It won't let me move things how I expected them to let me move them. I don't know if it's like a bug or if I don't know the correct way to use it. Maybe you have a tip on it. Because it would be really nice. I struggled quite a lot with this in the whole zoo yet. So if you know something or maybe a video you can recommend on how to better use it, just tell me in the comments. And then obviously I also had to redo the foliage there because I changed the pathing. And just for the last finishing touches, I put up another educational sign and just covered it up with the same beams I use basically throughout the whole habitat. Doing some smaller custom details like custom fencing and custom signs really gives another flair to your zoo and just gives off a whole nother vibe if you do it on your own. It's just unique and creative, and it's sometimes even easier to do that because sometimes we do have quite a lot of items from Frontier, but some are just not really fitting, or you just need something different, another sizing, more variety, whatever. So this is really a tip I can give you to make your zoos more unique. To just do some more custom work. I know it can be quite a lot of work, but it really pays off, and it just makes everything really pretty if you put in some more work and do some custom things. Thank you for watching the video. I hope you enjoyed it and that I see you in my next video. Till then, bye guys!